the case of the National Assembly, it was elected in December 2020, and it was installed on January 5th, 2021. The period is the period of the legislature would be the next term of the election has to be on January 5th, 2026. In elections that must be made, well, just to do your math, and in December 2021 was a kind of a mega election, and we could be able to elect thanks to the consensus and dialogue of the mega session. We elected locals, legislators, councillors, mayors, governors. So we made local and regional elections, and so as the period of the legislators is of 4 years, so it is needed to elect those local and regional leaders, and so we must elect mayors, governors, legislators, municipal legislators, and councillors. So that is only popular elections. And so the National Electoral Council must summon the 3 elections: the local, the regional, and the parliamentary elections. And so an election is an already set agenda with a process of time, with a working plan that requires from the sum of the electoral event, the nominations, the audits, the 32 electoral audits that made by the National Electoral Council, the electoral registration, the printing of ballots, it is a whole process. So we are in a situation that requires the necessary analysis, because we have to plan 3 elections, 3 complex elections in this 2025 year, added to the consultations of popular power. And so the whole process proposed about the reform of the constitution proposed by President Maduro. And so we must we must take a proposal to the National Electoral Council for the National Electoral Council to summon. And so we will have very soon elections. That's why we have summoned all political parties and all group of voters that have representation before the National Electoral Council, which are 38 political parties, and so 37 representatives, Secretary General and General Coordinators attended, and we consider it important to call the 4 state governors that were elected in 2021 with voters that belong to the opposition, to have a comprehensive representation today. And not only 37 political parties attended, but also I appreciate the attendance of the Secretary of Governor Barbosa of the state of Zulia, in representing Governor Manuel Rosales, and the Secretary of Government representative of. So we were all political factions there, there was no missing of any leader, and so that's why we decided at the brink of all debates, we declare permanent sessions, and so right now they are working 3 tables, and so we are just deciding if we can, what election will be first, what are the legal parameters, the requirements, and what are the necessary reforms for the whole processes of this law that necessary must be adjusted. We must revise the organic law of electoral processes, which cannot be modified 6 months earlier the day of the election. The issue of the districts in the case of the National Assembly, the issue of the circuits. So there are a lot of issues to discuss and pay attention. That must be Venezuela, one of the few countries in the world that summons the political actors to make proposals to the only organ, to the only authority able to summon elections and elect posts. So this is a deepening event. This is an event deepening democracy, and so there have been very interesting proposals about how to set these 3 events in the year 2025 and the consultations. That's the reason of our special press briefing. And here by my side it is Ernesto Maduro Guerra and representatives of the National Assembly, and so I am pleased to answer all your questions. By teleSUR, Madeleine Garcia. Hi, how are you doing? Good. What's behind this dialogue table? There have been the presidential elections. Surely President Nicolás Maduro, maybe. So what's behind regarding the political issue? So you have said that 37 political parties have participated out of the 38 parties, and so you said that Manuel Rosales participated in the National Assembly. So, and if they disregarded the electoral results, what is the meaning of he participating in this process? So what is I heard it is a country of peace, so it is very hopeful and very good. Ahead of so much call to violence, the whole people of Venezuela is at the streets. Nationwide, all children are at school, and our boys and girls at the colleges and universities, all markets opened as an expression of a strong democracy and of a country attached to peace and who loves so much peace. There cannot be prosperity, progress, future if we don't manage to take care of this valuable asset of peace, which is the peace of the republic. So when I say to you that this meeting was represented by the 100% of the political spectrum of Venezuela, I refer to the 100, and so all political factions that complied with the constitutional requirements and legal requirements and abided by the constitution of Venezuela that counts up with the representation of the Electoral National Council, and some of them participated in the regional, local, and presidential elections of 2024. And so, I mean, all of them. That's why we invited not only political parties but also elected governors of the opposition, as Governor Garrido from State Barinas. We know what opposition represented him and supported him. We know how he got to power. And there was Governor Galindez of the states. And so you can ask which political party belongs to the Governor Barindez. And it was the representative of the governor of the state Zulia. It was the secretary of his government, and it was the secretary of the government of Governor Rodriguez. And so this is how democracy works out. What's ahead of us? Peace, and at least three popular elections. We have been counting up around 4,000 councillors and 4,400 and 24 governors, including that of Guyana Esquiva, and an average of 10 legislators of legislative councils, around 5,000 posts of popular elections, and add to that lawmakers of the National Assembly. So, I mean, it is an election that is going to allow to renew almost all posts that are elected by popular vote, except for other fantasy legislators. Venezuela must renew by popular election the entities, the organs that are elected, voted by popular vote. Martinez and Maduro Guerra and Jorge Rodriguez, and they are term in office next January 5th, 2026. So we are at the service, the people is going to elect their nominees, and so the one who is elected will be swearing in next January 5th, 2026. Ahead of us, peace, future, and elections, Madeleine. For Venezuela News, Fabiana Marquez. Well, if it is not too soon, when are you going to publish the whole electoral agenda? And so, what message would the Bolivarian nation send to the international community by participating all political sectors? And last, if in this opportunity you plan to do you plan to announce the results of the elections. Well, about the last of the acknowledgement of results, it is already a constant tradition by the National Electoral Council. I want to recall that the National Assembly, within this special commission, make proposals to the National Electoral Council because the only authority abided by Constitution to summon and to all that has to do with elections is the National Electoral Council. All the electoral events in the country, trade unions, students' movements, federations, academies, and the posts of popular vote that are stipulated in our Constitution. So all that is the responsibility of the National Electoral Council. So the message is clear. The one who sees, sees, and the one who listens to, listens to. So there are interested factors that are meant to be blind, deaf, but not mute. And so they lie and I am sure that they will undermine this conversation, this meeting. I wish not. I wish all media outlets reflect that here were present 100% of all political factions. Who are not there? The violent ones, the ones who want death, the one who summoned with a lot of rage invasions to those involved with drug smugglers and assassins to request invention and interference to the sacred territory of Venezuela. And I say it honestly, that was already defeated. We want to lower our guard, but they are already defeated. So today it is an expression in medical terms. It is a symptom. It is a lab test that they are already defeated. That all opposition and all political parties of Venezuela have attended here. All who participated in the presidential elections in July 2024, without an exception. It is like when you take the temperature to your child, 36.5 degrees Celsius, and he has no fever, or she has no fever anymore. So this is an evident proof of what the Venezuelan people want, regardless our political position, our religious belief, faith, or any differences. So this is a very crystal clear message, which so why am I coming to a meeting if then I'm not going to participate in the elections? They want to participate in elections. All of them have made proposals, and so we cannot set any agenda, but we are just going to make proposals. So we have 48 hours to finish those proposals. So I am just clarify you that we will be holding elections, at least 9 of them in 2025. But what is almost certain, that elections will be coming soon, very soon, for them to be set whole. Okay, Andres, how are you doing? Good afternoon. This is the new green that represents hope. Last year you pointed out that before December 15 there were going to be already approved the electoral reforms. What comments do you have about not complying with it, about the constitutional reform? There's gonna be elections. There's gonna be the possibility of having these constitutional reforms, and what are the aspects to tackle? And yesterday, the Roberto Enriquez highlighted to media outlets that dialogue is a way of sorting out differences, but there has to be a dialogue, a genuine and not tricked dialogue. And so, what are your comments about it? Well, I don't know if Roberto made those statements, but he didn't speak to me. I wasn't updated about this because I have no comments to make about this. What could I say? That I agree with an honest dialogue without any tricks. I agreed with the dialogue with a peaceful purpose, with peaceful people, and not with people that are interested in something and betraying us, that behind us they are promoting war or anything. So dialogue must be between Democrats, between people who defend peace, and not a dialogue with people who recognize elections when they want, or only they assume that the democracy in Venezuela is good if wins something, if wins a governorate, or otherwise they kill people or burn everything. So we are fed up with those kinds of people. So pay attention. If you want to ask which military party belong to in the at this moment, it is high and clear. It is a very crystal clear signal that here we have the 100% of all political parties in the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, because there's another thing, that it is very impressive how extreme factors, international extreme factors, believe they can mock Venezuela every time they want to, and they can say everything about Venezuela. Well, we are going to invade Venezuela, we are going to do other things. What kind of diplomacy is that? So when you review the opinions of their own people about the one who posted that, and so tell me who you accompany with. You are accompanied with, and so they just meddling in the internal affairs, and so tomorrow you will come back. So we will holding these dialogues at peace, and I think that this meeting is a collaboration of political factors of Venezuela for the peace of the republic, because everyone who is there expressed their steadfast determination of looking after constitution peace and participate in the electoral events summoned, all of them without exceptions. And about the electoral laws, you are right. It has been a hard-working agenda, because a law can be transformed, because if a group of legislators decided, but we prefer to consult all political factions. And so the Vice President Eduardo Martinez, I want you to mention what the Constitution sets forth in the Article 190, which clearly says that the only law that cannot be modified modified is the organic law of electoral processes, 6 months earlier elections. So all the rest of laws that, for instance, the law of political parties that require a lot of updating, can be reformed by the National Assembly, but we will seek that reforms derive from the consensus of all political factors. And this law of electoral processes, let me give you an example. The nominations, requirement for nominations, the requirements for nominating candidates in Venezuela will be those established by the Constitution. So being and the laws of the Republic that stipulate in the Constitution, the penal law, those sentenced people cannot be nominees, and the organic law of Simón Bolívar and all laws of the Republic. So they can be reformed. At least the law of the political parties can be reformed. But so that's the debate we are holding. Thank you.
We were listening to the statements of the President of the National Assembly of Venezuela, Jorge Rodriguez, who was providing a press conference to the journalists gathered there at the national headquarters of the National Assembly as the working meeting continues of this special commission that was installed to draft the different proposals for the schedule, the timetable of the elections that are going to be held this year, 2025, in Venezuela, being the local, the regional, and the parliamentary elections that will define the National Assembly for the next year, starting next January 5th, 2026. So the work is in progress. The President of the National Assembly, Jorge Rodriguez, said that all political sectors, actors that comply with the Constitution have been summoned for this talk and are all present in these working tables, all working in unison to determine the rules of laws of this electoral process, when are they going to be held, which one are going to be held before the other one, and very soon we'll have more information, and when the results are ready on how this timetable will be made, will be comprised, the authorities will announce when each elections will be held and when all the campaign rallies and everything has to do with the logistics of the elections, all that will be informed. And of course, we'll have it here at teleSUR, so stay tuned for that. For now, with this, we have come to the end of this news brief. Remember, you can find more news on our website at telesurenglish.net. Also, join us on our social medias on Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. Stay tuned with teleSUR English with Alberto Matos. Thank you for watching.